Hello YouTube, it's the Drunken Kobold here, today with the Unearthed Arcana 2021 Folk of the Feywild. This is new playtest material. I don't think that Feywild is going to be a focus in 2021 of a hardcore cover. I may be wrong, it may come closer to the end of the year, but I feel like Feywild is, and like a hardcover would already be like starting to go to print, so playtesting at this point is kind of pointless. But I definitely see Feywild now being a potential for 2022. This document features 4 new race options to playtest for player characters in D&D. So important note there is that they are referring to it as the term race rather than lineages that you find in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Creating your character. This is general information for creating your character. That when you create your D&D character, you decide whether your character is a member of the human race or one of the game's fantastical races. If you create a character using a race option presented here, follow these additional rules during character creation. Ability scores, you get a +2 and a +1, standard across the board. Whatever skills you choose to boost, they cannot be raised above 20. Languages, your character can read and write Common, and speak. They can speak, read, and write Common, and one other language that you and your DM agree is appropriate for the character. The player's handbook offers a list of widespread languages to choose from. The DM is free to add or remove languages from that list for a particular campaign. Various creature types. So you have all your standard creature types here. These types don't have rules themselves, but some rules in the game affect creatures of a certain type in different ways. For example, the text of Cure Wounds spell specifies that the spell doesn't work on a creature that has the construct type. I've actually kind of wanted, various rules added to creature types for a while now. I have a few homebrew that I've been trying out myself, but, I end up usually scrapping them because they either nerf a creature too much or they make it overpowered. I haven't been able to find a healthy middle ground yet. Design note. The creating your character section provides special character creation rules for the race options in this article. The races that use these rules can coexist seamlessly with races that use other rules. For example, the race options in the player's handbook have built-in ability score increases, while the races in this article don't. Race options from both sources can adventure together. What we already know is that if you have Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and you use the customizing your origin rule, you can change the player's handbook races so that they have the flexibility of these, and that their ability score increases are merely suggestions or recommended increases for flavor, and that's actually mentioned right here. This book also gives you the option of your own race rather than choosing an existing one. This option is called the custom lineage. And this is where the idea that races were now going to be called lineages comes from. The last Unearthed Arcana Gothic lineages didn't refer to things as race. So the fact that this is being referred to race does feel like it's a step backwards from the mission that Wizards of the Coast was trying to achieve. But without further ado, let's look at these, we'll call them lineages. Fairy. The Feywild is home to many fantastic peoples, including fairies. Fairies are a wee folk, but not merely as much so as their pixie and sprite friends. Here's a little bit of information with fairies, including your fey characteristics. You have 8 that you can choose from. You have small wings like those of an insect. You have exceptionally large ears. That sounds like an elvish feature almost. You have a small spectral horn on your forehead, like a little unicorn horn. You smell like fresh brownies. That's... I don't know. I don't want my fairy to get eaten. Your hands never look dirty. You have shimmering multicolored skin. And a noticeable harmless chill surrounds you. I'd actually probably like handpick that one rather than roll for it if I was playing a more villainous character, just like that ominous chill. So as you can see here, there are no recommended ability score increases. So let's go over the abilities and see what's what. Creature type, you are a Fey. Size, you are small. Speed, your walking speed is 30 feet. Fairy flight, you have a flight speed equal to your walking speed and can hover. This flight is magical and does not require the use of your wings if you have them. That for me is a huge downer because that means that fairy as is right now will not be allowed in an AL game. Home games, it doesn't matter, but AL has like this huge stick up their ass about having creatures with a level 1 flight speed. So this would not be legal for AL. Fairy magic. You know the Druidcraft and Fairy Fire spells. Okay, that is super flavorful. I love it. You can cast Fairy Fire without expending a spell slot. You must finish a long rest before you can cast it again this way. I like that they didn't make it just a generic cantrip, that they actually kind of put a limit on it. You can also cast this spell using any spell slots you have. Your spell casting for these spells is your choice of intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. Fey passage, you can squeeze through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide. Okay, so where I would recommend ability scores for Fairy is charisma, they're tricksters, and I would recommend a dexterity bonus. They're small, they're nimble, definitely able to be stealthy, definitely able to get into like, you know, the NPC's pockets and lift something. So the fact that they are the fact that if you gave them a dex bonus and a charisma bonus would be very flavorful. As such, fairies, excellent rogues. Hobgoblin of the Feywild. Okay, so this is not like the Hobgoblin that is in Volo's Guide to Monsters. These are more in line with the Hobgoblin's origins of being in the Feywild, whereas a lot of the Hobgoblins that you will encounter in Forgotten Realms, encounter in Krynn, Athos, etc., they are going to be very, very far down the line descended from the Feywild, so they're not going to have a lot of their traits. But Hobgoblins trace their origins to the Feywild, where they first appeared with their goblin and bugbear kin. That history has left its mark, for though Hobgoblins are found throughout the material plane, they continue to channel an aspect of the Feywild's rules of reciprocity, however you pronounce that, don't judge me, which creates a mystical bond between the giver and the receiver of a gift. I don't think that's a rule for Hobgoblins. I don't have Volos on. D&D Beyond, so I don't have access to the Hobgoblin to get like a full out description of them. I do believe that they were in Volos. Oh, no, basic rules. Never mind. Okay, so they were not in Volos. That means that they were an NPC in why is like their whole description not here? I could have swore that Hobgoblins were in Volos as a raid, as like an NPC. I apparently am mistaken. Okay. So Hobgoblin traits. You have the following racial traits. You are a humanoid, you are medium, your walking speed is 30, dark vision 60, Fey ancestry. This is where I want to note something, is that Fey ancestry here has a different ability than what you are used to on elves and half-elves. You have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the charmed condition on yourself. Elves do not have it to end the condition, just to avoid it. Elves also have the you cannot be put to sleep by magic. So if you wanted to adjust this Fey ancestry to put it more in line with elves and half elves, I highly recommend you do so, just so that way it doesn't get confusing. Fey Gift. You can use this trait to take the help action as a bonus action. You can do so a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Starting at 3rd level, choose one of the options below each time you take the help action, whether it is a bonus action or an action. Hospitality, Passage, or Spite. Let's look at Hospitality. You and the target of your help action each gain a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d6 plus your proficiency bonus. That's actually kind of helpful. I think it's pretty interesting that, you can take the help action and then you're able to give them you're able to give an additional bonus on top of the help action. So that's actually pretty cool. The fact that it's 1d6 plus your proficiency bonus, that is going to be a really nice bonus at some higher levels. Passage, you and the target of your help action increase your walking speeds by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. I don't feel that one is super effective. It might be useful, but there's just so many speed buffs in the game that if you need them, I wouldn't recommend burning your Fey Gift on your that you use for that one. Spite, until the start of your next turn. The first time you or the target of your help action hits a creature with an attack roll, that creature has disadvantage on the next attack roll that it makes within the minute. That is 10 rounds. 10 rounds that the next attack that creature makes has disadvantage. That is actually pretty cool, because if they are restrained, they have 10 rounds to break free, and then they still have disadvantage on their next attack roll. So that's pretty cool. Fortune from the Many. If you miss with an attack roll or fail an ability check or a saving throw, you can draw on your bonds to gain a bonus to the roll equal to the number of allies you can see within 30 feet of you. Maximum of +5. I do like that cap so that it doesn't get ridiculous in larger groups or groups with sidekicks. You can use this trait a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended slots you use on a long rest. That one's actually not bad. I see that being quite useful, actually. Because these are hobgoblins, I highly recommend a strength and a constitution ability score increase, but once again, you can choose whatever you want. Hobgoblins, I lean more into being barbarians or fighters. They could possibly even be rangers, but that's where I'm at with hobgoblins. Owl folk, distant kin of giant owls. Owl folk come in many shapes and sizes, from petite and fluffy to wide-winged and majestic. Owl folk have arms and legs like other humanoids, as well as wings that extend from their back and shoulders. I already see where this is going. Because their ancestral tie to the Feywild, owl folk can innately see the magic of their surroundings. Like owls, owl folk are graced with feathers that make no sound when they move or fly, making it, they have a flight speed, that means, making it easy for them to sneak up on you in the library. Well, what if they want to sneak up on you in the bar? Why a library? Who wrote that? My owl folk is a drunk. Your owl folk character might be nocturnal, or perhaps your character is simply prone to rise later, embodying the common nickname of night owl. Creature type, you are a humanoid. Size, you are medium or small. You choose this size when you gain the race. Your walking speed is 30 feet. Dark vision, you see in dim light within 90 feet. Okay, so 90 feet's actually pretty flavorful for it being an owl. However, I feel that puts you at a little bit more of an advantage over the rest of the party. So bumping that down to 60 might be appropriate. Magic sight. Your keen senses can focus to see the presence of magic. You gain the ability to cast the detect magic spell, but only as a ritual. Your spellcasting ability for this spell is your choice of intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. You can also cast this spell normally with any spell slots you have. Nimble Flight. You have a flight speed equal to your walking speed and can make a dexterity throw saving 10 to stop your fall and fly in place until the start of your next turn. Silent Feathers. You have proficiency in the stealth skill. Okay, so flavorfully, intelligence and wisdom. Owls are have been long the symbol of intelligence and wisdom in lore. The fact that they have a dexterity saving throw and have proficiency in the stealth skill, I also could recommend dexterity as a bonus, but probably only as your +1 bonus, unless, especially if you're going as a caster. If you are going as a rogue, intelligence could be your +1 and dex a +2. Wisdom, these guys would also make pretty decent clerics. So there is that. So the only thing I would say is remove Nimble Flight and bump down Dark Vision to 60. The fact that they don't have a Fey Ancestry ability or even sunlight sensitivity does kind of feel like a flavor fail to me, but I still absolutely love this race. Rabbit folk. Bounding across the wilds, rabbit folk from the Feywild embody a spirit of freedom and travel. Rabbit folk are bipedal with the characteristic long feet of the animal they resemble and fur in a variety of colors. They share the keen senses and powerful legs of leporine creatures and are full of energy like a wound-up spring. Rabbit folk are blessed with little fey luck, and they often find themselves a few fortunate feet away from dangers during adventures. You are a humanoid, you are medium or small, you choose this side when you choose this race. Your walking speed is 30. Add your proficiency bonus to your initiative rolls. You have proficiency in the perception skill. I feel like that could have just been one ability, but the fact that it's two abilities, whatever. Lucky footwork. When you fail a dexterity saving throw, you can choose your reaction to roll a d4 and add it to the result, potentially turning the failure into a success. And rabbit hop. During each of your turns, when you walk at least 5 feet, you can hop, rolling a d12 and moving that many feet in a direction of your choice. This extra distance doesn't cost movement, but you can only hop if your speed isn't 0. Okay, so speed-wise, flavorfully, I would have given these guys a 40. Rabbit hop is kind of a cool feature. If I was giving them the 40 feet speed, I would have probably made it a d6. A d6 for the rabbit hop, so that you maybe even a d10, but a d12 with a 40 is a little much. I like that it doesn't cost movement, and you can only hop if your speed isn't 0. So the fact that if your speed gets reduced to 0, you can't try and manipulate it to... you need to still move that 5 feet. So having the 0 is kind of redundant, but it does... If say you triggered something that reduced your speed to 0 during your movement, that covers that. The fact that these do not have Fey Ancestry is a little disappointing. Yeah, no, other than that, it's a pretty cool class. Dexterity is something I would consider for the class simply because you get like a boost to your initiative rolls. The rabbit is going to be super quick. Uh, what other things flavorfully can I see a rabbit folk being? I think they'd actually make a pretty cool druid. Druid as a class. They don't have any innate spell casting, so a caster isn't necessarily the best option. So I would say they're not. I wouldn't say that they're particularly strong. So I would say dexterity and is your +2, and literally whatever you want it to be for your +1. There isn't anything that is super flavorful for that +1, in my opinion. I really like these classes. I think they're really well thought out. The only thing I really don't like is these flight speeds on your fairy and your owl folk. That guarantees their inability to be part of Adventure League. Uh, all in all, though, I have to give these guys a solid 9 out of 10. There is a couple flaws to these. I would have really liked to have seen like some recommended ability scores that gave like a flavorful option for them. But as is, I like them. Have you had a chance to read these? There will be a link to them in the comments, not the comments, the description down below. So if you want to check these out for yourself, you can. If you haven't already and you feel I deserved it, please leave a like and consider subscribing. In the meantime, cheers and may your rolls be with you.